Bonjour, Pranahamda, bonjour. I am Hayley Marshall-Say, and I am the lead teacher for French at Llantwit Major School. And I'm going to take you through what we did for our Boost in Motivation for Learning Languages event at Llantwit Major School. So we are in the Vale of Glamorgan. We are a mixed secondary school with students from age 11 up to 18. There's about 900 students in the school. We have just Welsh, obviously, and then French is the only other language that's taught in the school. And I am the only full-time teacher in the department. We have previously had a like 1.5 people in the department. That half person used to be me when we had our previous head of department, but when they left, it just all came to me. So I am the one person leading French in the school. So that has been a bit of a barrier. And as a consequence of putting everything into my timetable, it has meant that the students have gone down from previously having 3 hours a fortnight in year 7 through to 9 to just having 2 hours a fortnight of French. So that's 1 hour a week. Other sort of barriers that we've had after COVID, the numbers at GCSE did dip. However, they have been improving in the past 2 years. Our numbers of classes have increased, actually doubled since before COVID, but it is still obviously a challenge with competition from other subjects and the fact that we don't have as much lesson time with the students either. The fact that they're not always coming up from primary school with any knowledge of French is a challenge too. So it means that they are starting off at the very beginning when they come into year 7 for most of them. We've had also with the Welsh, we've had some parents recently in our options evening, some were saying that the fact that their child has to take Welsh does make it then a bit harder for them to want to choose another language. So, I mean, I am Welsh. I'm fully proud to be Welsh, but it is something which is proven to be a challenge, having the compulsory Welsh and then the option of French. Some students don't want to have the two languages together because they find that too complicated. So for the planning for our event, I was really keen to book Mingalaba. Now we'd had Mingalaba last year come in. Steve Eden's the owner of the company, and he came in just to do an assembly for our year 9s and our GCSE and A-level students who were taking French and also taking PE as well. So we joined with PE for that. And it was so successful that with the opportunity of having extra funding, I really wanted to book Mingalaba to come back because just from the one assembly, we found it really motivating for pupils. So what Mingalaba do is they come into schools, they do motivational talks about how languages are really useful for careers in sport, but they also do explain about how that can also translate through to careers in other industries as well, like media, like also fashion as well. So they weren't just talking about football, but primarily. Obviously, it's a good thing to engage our more sporty pupils. With the whole day that we were able to book with the funding, we were able to have them do the motivational talk, but also to do a careers in sport workshop. And that was really good for the students who are really interested in sport, but also in languages, so they could see. They looked at what skills that they use in their language lessons and how that could translate into careers in sport. They also did a practical football session, which obviously was very fun for the students. And that had a part in us actually picking the day for when we were going to do the event. So the organisation of the event was very much around Mingalaba's availability because they are very busy. Steve, the owner, wasn't able to come, but instead we had Laura, who helps out with Mingalaba, and she was a freelance sports journalist, and her bringing her experience and her all of her expertise to the session was fantastic. It was good to have the experience of both of them over the 2 years. So Laura was great. Also, we had some other events going on in the school, which meant that we had to change the date so we didn't clash with those. And the fact we were going to be outside, it did work for us actually holding it in March when the weather was better. So due to the funding that we had, we wanted to make it a bigger event and not just focus on Mingalaba. So I was trying to get some other contacts in, and I would really advise using your careers advisor to help you out with this, because our careers advisor was a great help in sourcing contacts. So she was able to organise another company to come in and hold a talk for students, and that was Bugay Construction. And I'll talk more about that when I show you the pictures. So due to the funding, then we invited another school. So I initially kind of put an invitation out to schools that I've worked with before to see if they were interested. The one school I didn't get a contact back from them, so then I went on to another local school, and they were really keen and happy to be involved. Because of the fact that this was about careers in sport, we liaised with the PE department for their support in selecting students for the event, ones who would really benefit from it. But also we were going to have to use 3G for the practical football side of it. And then it was about booking venues for the different classrooms for the talks, and also different venues for the initial assembly, which Year 9 had, which was Laura talking to all of Year 9 at the start of the day. And the grouping of the students, so I liaised with the head of PE for who was most interested in careers in sports and who would really benefit from it. But I also then thought about my students for the smaller workshops who it would be most beneficial for than the students who are showing interest in languages. And then I had to give parental notice of the event, and Mingalab were very helpful in providing a risk assessment for their involvement in the day. So this is some pictures of the day from the Mingalaba side of it. So the picture we've got where Laura's in our local leisure centre, she's presenting about careers in sport, but she also spoke about her background, how she studied languages at university, and then ended up working with Arsenal Football Club and going and coaching football in Ghana. So she explained like all of the good things that came from that and how her languages have helped her in her career. Then the picture in the classroom is of the Careers in Sports workshop, where they were looking at a book which we, within the package for what we paid for, we had a set of books, which is 50 jobs in football. And they looked through it, students looked through it, saw what jobs they were interested in and what skills are required for it, what qualifications. And then Laura had them break down what skills they develop in their languages lesson that would help them in such careers. And then we've got some pictures from the outside session. We were so lucky. It was such a lovely day after having had such bad weather for so long. So the sun did shine on us for it. And so Laura did a brilliant warm up in French, which is obviously the language that we teach in the school. And then they did have a game as well. And then our final part, which was actually earlier on in the morning, we had 3 people from Bugay Construction, and they came in, and it was fascinating hearing them talk about their languages, their background in languages, and how many languages they speak, and also the different jobs and projects that they've worked on across the world and how they've used their languages in that. And that was a really inspiring talk. And our students, which were a mix of our students, a mix of the other school Pen Poitras students, they really did get a lot from that. So post-event, I've had some quotes from students. So one of them said, it was something I've never experienced before. Another one said, I've learned about different careers where languages are really useful. And another one said, I didn't know there were so many jobs in football. Some others that I haven't put on there was one student said, I really enjoyed it, I would do it again. So it was a really successful and enjoyable day, definitely. And I have surveyed pupils as I've been able to do in the time since the event happened in terms of when I've seen them. So it's not everybody, because it was the whole year group that had the talk, and then I've narrowed it down to just the people who did the individual workshops. So some of the answers are not answered by all of the students, but there were definitely more than 80 students who were doing it. I just have not seen 2 classes since the event to be able to actually survey them. But you can see that overall, the majority of them did find the motivational talk interesting, and that I will take the yes and the maybe for whether it's made them consider the relevance of being able to speak other languages with different careers as being positive. Then those who were in the construction talk, we had most of them finding it useful or somewhat useful and motivational. And then if those thinking if they would help, it's made them think about continuing with languages. So we've got possibly not as positive as I was hoping for, but as I've mentioned, there are still 2 classes that I still need to survey on this. So there was only a very small amount of students that were able to do the construction talk because of the time constraints that we had with the people coming in from the company. And then those who were involved in the Mingalaba Careers with Football workshop, that was really positive about how informative and motivational they found it. And then also it has translated into more students saying that they would, or they maybe would, from what they've had from it, they would consider taking languages and continuing with languages in the future. And then for the students, some students took part. We were able to have more students take part in the practical football sessions than in the workshops. So for that, I wanted to get their ideas on whether they would like more opportunities to mix French and Welsh even in with sporting activities in the future. And that was a bit more sort of balanced out than I thought it was going to be, but it was predominantly positive that they wanted to be able to do things like that. So I know that our PE department's really supportive, so we'll see if we can do something with that. And so next steps, we have recently had our Year 9 options evening, but only literally in the past 2 days. And we are due to have our students taking their options in the next few weeks. So we will see how that has resulted in terms of whether there's been an increase in students choosing to do French at GCSE. And as I said, we've worked with Mingalaba before, and it was great to have them back. But what I did find as well really good was the Bugey construction was really interesting, and the fact that we had such help from the careers advisor. I would like to be able to work with them in the future to get more businesses in to promote languages and careers with our students. So I hope this has been helpful for you. It's been a really good project to be involved in. I'm really grateful to Marina and CSC for their support. And yeah, thank you.